All right, so today we're diving into the world of boxing, and specifically the career of the one and only Canelo Álvarez.
One of the greats.
Yeah, his Wikipedia page is, well, it's quite a read. What stands out to you about Canelo's journey? I mean, 34 years old? That's young to be considered one of the greats, isn't it?
It is, yeah. He started so young.
It's almost like he's been around forever, like we've always known Canelo Álvarez.
And just the sheer, to achieve what he has at that age, you're right. It is remarkable.
It is remarkable, and it's not just him, right? It's almost like it's in his blood. We've got, what is it, 7 brothers?
Mm.
And they all boxed professionally.
7 brothers, yeah. Talk about a family affair.
I can't even imagine, like, Thanksgiving at the Álvarez household.
You know, all those brothers sparring, I'm sure from a very young age. Must have just been an incredible training ground.
That's what I was thinking, just growing up in that environment, you know. It must have shaped, we're talking nature versus nurture.
Yeah.
That's got to be a bit of both, right?
Oh, absolutely. You just can't replicate that kind of, just that natural, that immersion in the sport.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
And speaking of names, we have to talk about his, right? Canelo. It's iconic. Way better than Santos Álvarez Barragan.
It's a much better boxing name.
Way better, way better.
Canelo means cinnamon in Spanish. It's a common nickname in Mexico for people with red hair.
Makes sense.
And he certainly fits the bill there.
He does. I was reading somewhere, and I don't even know if this is true, something about Irish soldiers. Like way back in the day, maybe that's where it came from.
Yeah, there's that connection to the San Patricios battalion, those Irish soldiers who fought for Mexico back in the 1800s.
See, I love that. It's like this nickname with a whole backstory.
Oh, absolutely. It adds to the mystique, you know? And in boxing, a good name is everything. It's part of the brand.
Totally. Oh, and speaking of names, did you hear about his other nickname?
Jicama con Chile.
What? Yes. Where did that come from?
Yeah, apparently back in his hometown, some people called him that, Jicama with chili powder.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So he's got this fiery nickname to go with his boxing style.
I love it. So we've got this young kid already turning heads, and then boom, he decides to go pro at 15 years old. 15 years old, most kids are, thinking about their homework, and he's stepping into the ring professionally.
I can't even wrap my head around that. That's unheard of. Yeah, and not just competing, but he's winning. And often by knockout against guys much older than him. His early record, it's unbelievable.
It almost seems unfair, like those guys never stood a chance.
And you know what's even crazier? A lot of those early fights, so poorly documented, they don't even count towards his official record.
No way. Are you serious?
It's true. So that record, that seems unbelievable, and it's probably even better.
It's like a hidden history of Canelo just dominating.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's talk about that journey, because he starts at light middleweight, right? Seems like a natural fit. But then he does what very few boxers can do.
Yeah.
He starts moving up in weight class, and he just keeps winning. How does he do that?
It's incredible. It really speaks to his adaptability, his boxing IQ, because it's not just about being bigger, it's about adjusting your style for each opponent.
Oh, for sure. You're facing bigger, stronger guys.
Each weight class brings a new set of challenges. You have to learn how to use your strengths against their weaknesses.
So he's basically playing chess in the ring while everyone else is playing checkers.
Exactly. It's strategy. And Canelo, he's a master strategist.
Okay, so let's talk about some of those fights. Early on, he beats Miguel Vasquez twice. And Vasquez goes on to become a world champion himself.
It's almost like he has this knack for identifying future stars, beating them before they even hit their prime.
It's wild. It's like he could see the future of boxing.
And it wasn't a fluke, right? Beat him twice, back to back. Canelo knew what he was doing in there. He did, didn't he?
It's crazy. And then there's the fight against Carlos Boldemir. Now, this guy was a veteran, known for his trash talk.
Oh, yeah, Boldemir loved to talk.
So what happened when he met Canelo in the ring? Did the trash talk work?
Not even a little bit. Canelo weathered the storm and delivered one of the most memorable knockouts of his career.
Really? Was it Boldemir's, like, his first knockout?
It was only the second time Boldemir had been knocked out in his entire career.
Wow. So you're telling me this young Canelo, already taking down future champions, and now he's knocking out guys who are known for their chins.
Exactly. It was a statement. Canelo is here to stay.
That's incredible. So the wins just keep coming. Matthew Hatton, Ryan Rhodes, Alfonso Gomez. It's like he's unstoppable.
He was on a roll. Each fight bigger than the last, the stakes getting higher and higher.
Yeah, until, of course, the Mayweather fight.
Right, that was a turning point.
It's like a dividing line in Canelo's career.
Yeah.
Because up until that point, it had been victory after victory.
Mayweather was undefeated at the time, considered by many to be the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world.
So it was a huge test for Canelo. I mean, Mayweather, that's a legend.
Absolutely, and everyone was watching to see how Canelo would measure up. It was a close fight, controversial even, but in the end, Mayweather got the decision.
So how did that loss affect Canelo? I mean, that had to be a blow.
It would have been easy for him to get discouraged, but that's not Canelo. He used that loss as fuel. He came back stronger, more determined.
And we see that in his next few fights.
Yeah.
Right? Angolo, Lara, Kirkland. He's back to his winning ways.
Absolutely. He learned from that Mayweather fight, refined his technique, became even more strategic.
And that's when we start to see those catchweight bouts, right?
Exactly. It's like he was testing himself, seeing how he measured up against bigger guys.
For those who don't know, what's a catchweight fight?
Basically, it's when both fighters agree to a weight limit that's somewhere between two traditional weight classes.
So it's like a middle ground. Why do that?
It can be a strategic move, allowing a fighter to move up in weight gradually, test the waters.
Like dipping your toes in before jumping in the deep end.
Exactly. And Canelo used those catchweight fights to his advantage. He gained valuable experience against larger opponents.
So it's all part of the plan. He's got that long game in mind.
Always. And that brings us to, arguably, one of his biggest fights. Canelo versus Miguel Cotto.
Cotto, another legend, a multiple division world champion.
This was a clash of titans, no doubt about it.
What was at stake for Canelo in this fight? I mean, he was already a star.
This was about cementing his legacy. Cotto was a huge name, a true warrior. Beating him would mean entering a whole new level of boxing stardom.
Okay, so set the scene for us. Where are we? What's the atmosphere like?
November 2015, Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. The place was electric. You could feel the energy in the air.
I bet. So how did the fight go down? Did Canelo's power prove to be too much for Cotto?
It was a chess match, both guys showcasing their skills, their heart. But in the end, it was Canelo who landed the cleaner shots, controlled the pace of the fight. He won by unanimous decision.
Wow, what a fight. Beating a legend like Cotto, that's huge. So what's next for Canelo after this? He's on top of the world.
He's got the boxing world in the palm of his hand, but there's always another challenge waiting, and in this case, it comes in the form of Amir Khan.
Oh yeah, the Khan fight. This one was all over the headlines, a clash of styles. Canelo's power versus Khan's speed.
Khan, known for his lightning-fast hands, he actually moved up 2 weight classes to fight Canelo.
Really? 2 weight classes, that's a big jump. Was he outmatched from the start?
He was definitely the underdog, but Khan, he had a plan. He was going to use his speed and agility to outmaneuver Canelo. And it worked for a while. The early rounds were a blur, Khan dancing around, landing jabs.
So it was a close fight.
It was, but then Canelo, he's got this way of just, figuring out his opponents. He started timing Khan's movements, cutting off the ring, and then boom, one punch.
One of those signature Canelo power punches.
A left hook that landed right on the jaw. Khan was out cold before he hit the canvas.
Knockout.
Yeah.
Classic Canelo. That's got to be a tough way to lose, though, especially after moving up 2 weight classes for the fight.
It was a gamble that didn't pay off for Khan, but it solidified Canelo's status as a pay-per-view star.
Yeah, this is when he became more than just a boxer. He's a global icon at this point.
Absolutely. And with that kind of fame comes even bigger expectations, bigger challenges.
And speaking of challenges, we can't talk about Canelo's career without mentioning his biggest rivalry, the one that defined this era of boxing. Canelo versus Golovkin.
Now that was something special. 2 of the best to ever do it.
This is the stuff legends are made of. Okay, so let's talk about that first Golovkin fight. What was the energy like? Were people excited?
Oh, absolutely. It was September 2017, T-Mobile Arena in Vegas. The place was buzzing.
Vegas, baby. High stakes, bright lights.
You know it. And the fight itself lived up to the hype. Both guys came out swinging, but Canelo, he seemed to be landing the cleaner shots early on.
So using that speed, that agility.
Exactly. But Golovkin, he's a pressure fighter. He just kept coming forward, relentless.
Like a machine.
Yeah.
So how did it end? Who got their hand raised?
Well, that's where things get a little, let's just say, controversial.
Oh, no. Don't tell me it was a draw.
It was a split decision draw.
Oh, man. You hate to see it. Especially in a fight that big. The fans must have been going crazy.
They were not happy. Everyone wanted a rematch, a clear winner.
And they got it. A year later, Canelo and Golovkin, round 2. Same energy, same place.
Same place, even higher stakes. May 2018, T-Mobile Arena. And this time Canelo, He changed his strategy. He came out more aggressive.
Oh, really? So he's not just relying on the counterpunching anymore.
Nope, he's taken the fight to Golovkin, pushing the pace.
Making some risks. I like it. So did it pay off?
It was another close fight, but this time, Canelo got the nod. Majority decision.
Another close one.
Yeah.
These guys were just too evenly matched.
It was a war. Two warriors, leaving it all in the ring.
And of course, the boxing world demands a trilogy.
Inevitably. But we had to wait for it.
You know it. It took 4 years for these two to step back in the ring together. What was the holdup?
Well, boxing is a business. There were contracts, negotiations.
Right, got to get that money right.
Exactly. And then the pandemic happened, which threw everything off.
Oh yeah, 2020, the year they shall not be named. But finally, in 2022, Canelo versus Golovkin III. What a fight. Did it live up to the hype?
It was electric. The energy in the arena, you could feel it. Everyone knew they were witnessing history.
And how did those final rounds play out?
Canelo was in control for most of the fight. More measured, more calculated. But Golovkin, he never stopped coming forward. He landed some shots, but Canelo took them well. In the end, Canelo won by unanimous decision.
What a way to close out the trilogy. 3 epic fights. So where does Canelo go from there? He's already achieved so much.
He's a 4-division world champion. He's beaten the best, but he's not done yet.
He's always looking for the next challenge.
Exactly. He goes on to fight Sergey Kovalev, wins another world title, then Callum Smith, Billy Joe Saunders, Caleb Plant. He's adding belts to his collection like it's nothing.
Unbelievable. It's like he's running out of opponents.
Until Dmitry Bivol, that is.
Ah, yes, the Bivol fight. A bit of a speed bump in Canelo's road.
Bivol was bigger, longer reach. He used his size to his advantage, kept Canelo at a distance.
So a loss, but a learning experience, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And Canelo, to his credit, he never made excuses. He gave Bivol credit and immediately started talking about a rematch.
That's the mark of a true champion.
He's not afraid to lose. He's afraid of not learning from those losses. And he did learn because he came back and avenged that loss in a rematch last year.
See, I told you. Never count Canelo out. So what's next? What does the future hold for Canelo Álvarez?
That's the question, isn't it? Only time will tell.
But one thing's for sure, we'll be watching. Well, folks, there you have it. A glimpse into the incredible career of Canelo Álvarez, a true boxing legend.
One for the history books?
Absolutely. From those early days in Mexico to conquering the boxing world, it's been a wild ride. And for our listener, if you haven't seen Canelo fight, do yourself a favor and check it out. You won't be disappointed. Until next time, keep exploring and keep diving deep into the stories that fascinate you.